Cue the fireworks, as Justin Gaethje has allegedly finally got his next opponent. After some outstanding performances in the UFC, including a 5th-round KO of perennial contender Rafael dos Anjos, Rafael Fiziev has reportedly agreed to take on the highlight, with outlets hinting that the fight will be taking place around March-April, with some saying it will take place on March 5th at UFC 285. In an interview, Fiziev stated, "I'm not announcing anything here, but the UFC promised me that I'll be fighting Justin Gaethje in March. The UFC wants that fight and Dana White wants that fight, so they have told me, March, get ready. We're waiting on the contract now. That's all the information I have so far." Fiziev is currently on fire and hasn't lost a fight since 2019, and whilst Justin Gaethje has notched a few in the L column in that time, his only 2 losses since 2018 have been in title fights against Charles Oliveira and Khabib Nurmagomedov. Needless to say that this fight will have major repercussions for the lightweight division. Fiziev is knocking on the door of a title shot, and with a win over a huge name like Justin Gaethje, he throws his name right into the mix. For Gaethje, this provides another chance to hit the reset button on another title shot and keep his name in the ring of shortlisted contenders to take on the winner of Makhachev-Volkanovski for the belt. It has been a huge week for the future of the heavyweight division, as negotiations between the UFC and Francis Ngannou have reached a roadblock, resulting in the heavyweight champ being stripped of his title and pushed into free agency. This comes as Dana alleges that the money Francis was offered to fight Jon Jones for the heavyweight strap would have made him the highest paid UFC heavyweight of all time. Whilst he hasn't been the most active champion, with his knee surgery blocking out most of last year, it is disappointing that fans and pundits alike will seemingly never see the Predator matched up against arguably the best fighter of all time, Jon Jones. With the news of Francis comes the announcement that Cyril Gane will now step in to face Jon Jones at UFC 285 on March 5th. It has been close to 1,500 days since Jon Jones has stepped into the octagon, and we will post a matchup video closer to the fight. Stipe Miocic has also taken to Twitter, throwing his hat in the ring to take on the winner of the bout between Jones and Gane, saying, "March 4th, I like it. I got the winner in July." Who do you see winning the now vacant heavyweight strap in March? And do you think Stipe will jump in to take on the winner in July? Data scientist and MMA enthusiast Nate Latshaw recently released his new invention into the MMA world, making matchup statistics between any 2 fighters in the UFC just a tweet away. MMA StatsBot is an automated Twitter account that, when prompted, will automatically reply with an infographic containing details of a matchup comparison of the 2 UFC fighters that you have hashtagged. The statistical comparison is very in-depth, looking at both UFC fighters' win percentages all the way down to things like takedowns conceded and strength of schedule of their opponents. This thing is a godsend when things like the previous story mentioned occur and someone steps in late to face a new opponent and you want access to quick, easy to digest stats of their potential matchup. To try this thing out for yourself, just head to MMA StatBot's Twitter page and follow the instructions. A new image has emerged online of current middleweight champ Alex Pereira posing with his belt back home in Brazil. He is wearing what appears to be a traditional headwear and outfit, along with intricate face and body paint. To say he looks intimidating is an understatement. It's also nice to see the champ enjoying his belt after a busy year in the octagon. Who would you like to see him fight next? And given the amount of speculation that is brewing online after some recent training videos were posted, how long do you think he can continue to make 185 pounds? Hot on the heels of his TKO victory over Claudio Puelles, Dan Hooker has jumped on the mic in an interview with Freestyle Bender, where he covers off on injury rumors, how good it feels to be back in the win column, and perhaps most interestingly, his thoughts on the coming lightweight championship matchup between Alexander Volkanovski and Islam Makhachev. Speaking candidly, he said, "Yeah, a difficult fight for Makhachev, and it's a credit to him. I think the biggest hesitation with him being the champion was that he would not be as active as a lot of other champions. For him to get on the microphone straight after their fight and call for another fight, and not only call for another fight in his own territory, but be willing to fly like a very long distance. Like, they don't usually take those kinds of risks. They're kind of US or close to home. For them to fly that far over the world and to take on a tough fight on home soil is, I took my hat off to Makhachev because he's in for one hell of a fight. Volk's a very difficult man to get down, and even harder to keep there, so I think he's in for a tough time. How do you think the main event between Volkanovski and Makhachev goes? Things are going from bad to worse for Dana White's pet project Power Slap, as the league is reportedly being dropped from TBS altogether after recent announcements that it would only be pushed back a week. This comes as a result of footage coming out of UFC President Dana White exchanging slaps with his wife over New Year's Eve. The new sports league has been derided online since its inception, and things have gone from bad to worse. When news dropped that TBS was pushing back the airing of the event a week as a result of the White slapping footage, there was an uproar online that the penalty wasn't harsh enough. And seemingly, now that message has been made loud and clear to TBS as they look to have dropped the league from their programming. This is at odds with a video tweeted out by Dana White this week promoting the league, so only time will tell what the future holds for the already troubled promotion. Jake Paul is seemingly putting his money where his mouth is and has signed up to fight MMA with the PFL. Per a video the PFL posted starring the YouTuber turned boxer on January 5. With a 6-0 record in the boxing ring, Paul apparently has no plans to give up the 10-ounce gloves, but is ready to take on a new challenge in the MMA arena. Paul's last bout was a unanimous decision win over legendary UFC veteran Anderson Silva. Whilst there is no official time frame on when Paul will make his debut in the sport, he alleges he has offered recently retired UFC superstar Nate Diaz a 2-fight deal wherein the first takes place in the boxing ring and 6 months later they rematch in the MMA cage. One of the more interesting aspects of the deal is Paul becoming a co-founder of a new PPV Superfights division where fighters will earn at least 50% split of revenue from events. How do you think Jake Paul will fare in MMA? Do you see him fighting Nate Diaz in 2023? That's a wrap on some of the water cooler talk in the MMA sphere. Thanks for watching Undisputed MMA. Please feel free to comment your thoughts below, and please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to keep up with the latest news in MMA.